Hi, this is Majinoni, and I got some comic reviews. We have Swamp Thing. This is the Brightest Day Aftermath. Search for Swamp Thing number 1, Justice League 58, and Green Arrow number 13. I'm going to do Green Arrow first. This book was a total disappointment for me, and I had to actually reread this book twice, and I was so hung up on certain key elements that I'm going to drop it. That's all I can really say. This is right after the Brightest Day thing. So he's still living in the forest, but he's now moving out. And then that corporate takeover thing is over. And as you can see here, you see like a flashback here where Ollie is shooting arrows into a cadaver. And I'm like going, okay, that's fine. You're shooting an arrow into a cadaver. You're getting used to, shooting it into a body. You're seeing how the damage works, things like that. So that's all fine and dandy. But see, what happens here is now, and I'm going to spoil this because I thought this was completely ridiculous. You have a detective who comes up to him and says, "Hey, we need help escorting this guy," and so he ends up on this, this armored van thing. Armored warriors come to attack him, and obviously he's having issues. His arrow, and this is the thing. I'm going, okay, fine. I understand you want to show how much of a badass Ollie is, where he's pushing, he's hitting cross arrow, the crosswalk arrows. He's hitting a cell phone through a window and a moving car, so this way the guy sees the person laying there. Okay, that's fine. He's a badass with a bow, but I think there's other ways you could have done it, especially fighting armored people. But that's besides the point. My problem is this. Eventually what happens is the armored people come and they pretty much knock the van, over. And this is where you have a point where there's armored warriors, they're taking the van away, and all Ollie has to do is put an arrow through the guy, and he won't. And I understand, there's a difference between being a hero and not. Heroes don't kill people, but here's my argument. One, he put an arrow through Prometheus. He also killed Hal, when he was paralyzed way back when. And the fact that what they did here was, spend a lot of page time throwing arrows, shooting arrows into bodies. I'm like, you should have shot him, killed him, and have it done and over with. But he didn't do it. He just stared and watched him go. And I thought that was really disappointing. Heck, you could have shot an arrow right through that tank here, and then that could have caused an explosion, and then he would have, fallen, died that way, indirectly. I just think that it's really ridiculous that you have a superhero who isn't killing people as a general rule, using a sharp arrow. At least Hawkeye has trick arrows mixed in with his regular arrows. He's throwing real, steel. And I'm like, what's the point? Use it or lose it. And, I think he should lose it because he's not doing it for me right now. Next up is the Return of the Swamp Thing. Now, this one, this was like a mixed bag for me. I thought it was interesting, but I didn't think it had the wow to it that would make me want to read more. The one thing, basically what's going on here is the Swamp Thing lures Constantine into a trap, and, for no apparent reason that I can figure out yet. And you have eco-terrorism again, where a tree magically appears and impales some guy dumping toxic waste in Gotham City. Conveniently, that's where Constantine needs to go. And he basically meets up with Batman. And what I thought was kind of funny is how Batman treats Constantine, where he's like, I don't know who you are, what did you do, there's no smoking in my car, kicked him out of his car, and every time Constantine, started opening his mouth, he got punched or kicked. And I thought that part was kind of funny. But eventually, Constantine pushes the right buttons and Batman joins up. There's more to it than that, but I just didn't think it was a strong title. They laid the foundation that they needed to lead, or I'm sorry, not lead, but lay down. to get to at least get 3 of the players in. But I don't think it was. I don't think it's interesting enough right now. I don't know. See, the sad thing is, if you get issue number 2, then you're locked in for 3. And part of me just wants to cut my loss right now. But then you got Swamp Thing coming up with a relaunch of the 52, and now I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. So let me know what you guys are going to do if you guys are reading this. I'm kind of curious. And finally, Justice League America. Now, I don't know why I'm buying this still. I really don't. I just shouldn't have done it. But what caught my interest was it says Donna Troy's Last Stand. And I'm like going, well, true, it's Donna Troy's Last Stand fighting Eclipso, but, the book is being relaunched, so to speak. So, like, her death is going to, matter. And I don't know. I thought some of the dialogue was kind of, not sloppy, but I didn't think it was sharp. Like you have Dick Grayson going, "Onward, team, let's do this." I'm like, come on, that's a battle cry, And I don't know, like the fight scenes are were interesting. You get the Atom appearing. They basically shoot a arrow. They shrink down Atom and that Shade guy, put him into a bullet, and then they shoot the bullet into the brain of I forgot his name, but the magician guy. I'm like, why didn't you just shoot it into Eclipso and have Atom grow and then blow his head up? That would have been my thing to do to solve this Eclipso problem. Oh, and here's the other problem I have with this book. You have Eclipso cutting the moon in half. And you have all of these natural disasters, and none of these disasters are going to happen in the regular DC universe. So, in a sense, this book is completely pointless. It doesn't even fit into any kind of continuity. And then, plus, what are you going to do? You're going to have the moon forever destroyed? No, it's going to get rebooted back to being normal again. This is just like, this is ridiculous. It's like, you're going to do something that's going to be this earth-shattering, then you should put this in right with the regular titles. You should have some sort of impact that's other than 2-page spread. And this is going to be a spoiler. I don't care because this book just sucks. But basically, what you have. See, I do think this. Well, there's a lot of busy work in here. I think this panel here is really, really sloppy. If you want to see somebody who really knows how to do something like this to throw down a lot of characters, you got to study George Perez, where he can literally put 100 people in a 2-page spread, and it's a work of art, not just okay. Let's just throw this guy here. We need to throw here, and it just doesn't. I don't know. It's just like basically what they told him is put as many characters on here as possible, and it doesn't matter how it looks. But anyways. So you have Donna Troy beating up on Eclipso, which I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. But then Eclipso shoves his sword right through her. And I'm like, part of me is like going, well, maybe it's not quite in her middle, maybe it's off to the side. But I'm like, who cares? This is the second time she's died in somewhat recent history. And I'm like, really? Did you have to do that? Especially so close to a reboot? I mean, how many people honestly are going to believe that Donna Troy stays dead? Nobody. Absolutely nobody. She'll be back. Anyways, for the most part, dud, and a mystery. I don't quite know what to think of this one yet. So it's like an average. If you have any comments or questions, let me know. Rate the video up or down. Let me know what you think. And I'll put up more reviews later. So until next time.